Good morning, everybody. Betting for breakfast, week 3 college football powered by the Sharp app. Guys, if you haven't downloaded the app, make sure you go and do that today. Get ready. Plenty of weeks in the college football season for us to profit. We got a ton of good conversation going on in the app and the Discord, so be a part of the family. But Dave, I see you got the shades rocking, brother. What a week we just finished. The biggest takeaway from me from week 2 was everything in week 1 was a lie almost. It felt like you looked at like Alabama, Texas. Alabama looked nothing like the Alabama we saw in week 1. Texas, obviously, Ewerts gets hurt. That thing whole changes. Sark just curls up and doesn't want to try to win the game. Maybe I'm a little jaded because I was on the over, but I really thought Sark blew a good opportunity there to kind of beat up on Alabama. But, App State, big surprise team, right? Now they get a college game day today after looking awful, especially defensively against North Carolina. So lots of crazy stuff going on in week 2. And now week 3, we're starting to, kind of finish up the out-of-conference stuff. And hopefully we're going to get a little more stability moving forward.
Yeah, week 2 was pretty cool. Rounded up the show 3-1-1. Really happy with what I'm wearing on my headband right now. They asked last week, the people, who was the strongest play. And that was one of my big takeaways last week. You got the Anthony Richardson of week 1 versus Utah that was shot up the Heisman race, right? Well, what's he now? Probably 10,000. Like it's some of the things you got to just. There's a lot of assessments we're still doing in college football, and like you said, week 3 still is coming in. We're starting to see and know what teams are, but at the same time, we can't just jump, and that's going to be some of my theory going into today a little bit too. The Sun Belt looking great last week, but do we just jump and crown them as really good teams? I'm not so sure. So we'll get into a lot of that today. But week 2 gave us, like you said, a little bit of a awakening, let's say.
Yeah, definitely an awakening. That's a great way to put it. And, the action started last night. Guys, everyone tuning in. 2 favors I need from you, right? Best bets in the comments. We want to hear what you're playing. Any questions you have, games you want to talk about, hit us up. And then also hit the like button, right? Help us out here over at the Sharp app, doing everything we can to make you guys, winners with profitable seasons. Hit the like button. That's the best way to support us. Hop in the app in the Discord. Florida State last night, Dave. We'll start with that game because my analysis of the other game is going to be pretty quick. But the Florida State Seminoles get a big win on the road against a Louisville team that, listen, one of the most important things as sports bettors is to be like water, right? Like be able to pivot, be able to adjust. I was very high on Louisville coming into the season. It took me about 1/2 of football to get off them and realize I was very, very wrong. By halftime in the Syracuse game, I knew that, all the aspirations I had for this team and Malik Cunningham were not going to come to fruition. And, we kind of seen that play out again last night, right? Perfect opportunity for them to steal a win against Florida State with Jordan Travis going down with the injury. But, they're, they can't execute 4th downs. They can't tackle anybody to save their lives. Louisville, a team, just seems to be spiraling the wrong direction. While Florida State, on the other hand, 3-0 now, they keep the momentum rolling.
Yeah, I've actually kind of been on Louisville pretty good so far. I had their win in UCF. I had them losing. Well, I had Syracuse with the spread. And then last night I did play some Florida State. I didn't know where I was at on that one. And obviously the Travis injury kind of, crumples up your ticket and throws it out because it changes the game plan. But this kid come in, Rodemaker, he made the play of the game on 2nd and 14, ripping a 60-yard pass out to Wilson. I think a lot of people started to see this kid Wilson could be NFL talent. He looks like a Mike Evans clone out there, how big he is, and just how physical, fast. He also made some great blocks on the sideline. And really where I think that game was won, I think we mentioned earlier in the pregame, there's 2 reasons. One, I think physicality. I do think Florida State was a little bit more physical in the running game. Louisville had more rushing yards, but a lot of that's with Malik Cunningham. Doesn't wear you down late. Florida State can wear you down late by running like that. And then secondly, I think, I've never given Norvell like a huge gap in the coaching column, but last night I think he did. Satterfield, sometimes I just scratch my head. Some of the timeout usages, some of the play calling, starting off, their last drive with a screen that ate up 30 seconds for 2 yards. Just little things that I think little things add up when you only win by 4. And Florida State's got the momentum right now. I'm not saying they're going to do it. I still think it's 7-5 at best, but they got the momentum. Louisville really looking shook, and he's in trouble. Satterfield's in trouble.
Yeah, he's in trouble. It doesn't look like it's going to end well for him there. And this is a team that just doesn't look any better than they did last year. And, with you have a talent like Malik Cunningham, a quarterback, you got to be able to build around him and have success and not able to. And like you said, the screen pass I thought was very indicative. I don't think it's a bad idea in the sense they can't block anyone up. So, like, all right, like, can you get them, excuse me, to over pursue? But the execution was awful. And that leans on the coach. It ate up way too much clock, and it just kind of shows you got to run those plays because you really don't trust your receivers to get open downfield or your quarterback to hit them in stride. And that offense just brutal. Lee Cunningham just trying to do everything, and you don't have enough players around him. But huge win for Florida State. I thought Norvell. Listen, I thought he got a little Sark in him last night, right? I thought he got
down near the
a
goal line?
little conservative, man, with the field goals and all that stuff at the end. That kicker went on the field. I already knew he missed it. I was trying to find a field goal miss prop live bet. Oh, dude, it was brutal. He went his face.
It went like this.
Dude, his face, he looked so like he knew he was going to miss before he went out there. I was like, who is this guy? This Fitzgerald, an Irish kid, right? Yeah, it was like he didn't even want to be there, dude. Yep. And I always crack up. The kickers go out there and like the jersey's clean. It's like pristine, man. It like don't even have dust on it. Like I was just like this. There's no way this is going in. Norvell's got to go for it there, man. He's got to get a little dog in him. A chance to go 3-0 against a terrible defense. Like if you're not going to go for it against Louisville, who are you going to go for it against? Right.
Well, I agree with you in this sense. I think he should have thrown it on third down. Wilson was absolutely dominating. I think the cornerback on the other side is 5'11". He's 6'8", 6'9". So, just throw a little back shoulder jump ball. I thought they should have passed on third. That's where they should have done it.
Yeah, definitely. They should have went for it. You can't kick field. You're not going to beat good teams kicking field goals, but they're 3-0. I give them credit. Listen, I didn't expect them to be 3-0. Good for them. We'll see what they can do with this Roderick guy or whatever his name is, but
Rodemaker.
Rodemaker is going to be, I think, making some people some money that are going to be fading Florida State in the future. But we'll see how that goes. But let's get into this week's action. Listen, our guy, Shady, checking in, man. Our boy Eric, listen, Fresno State plus 11, Dave. He's in on Fresno State. We know this is our West Coast homie right here. Plus 335 on the money line. I love this play. I'm not going to lie to you. This USC defense is soft. They let up a ton of explosive running plays. They are getting away with murder as far as like turnover margin variance. It's not all variance. They got better players on the field than the other team. They're playing Rice. You know what I mean? Like they got better players on the field, but that's not going to continue. I like Fresno with the points. I don't mind sprinkling on the money line. I think that's probably, not a bet that I would make, but hey, why not, man? Roll it in there. Plus 335. But I like Fresno in the matchup tonight to cap off the night. Definitely in this one.
I like it. I will tell you, it's funny how the ebbs and flows play. Fresno should have closed out that game last week against Oregon State. Didn't. And I actually think that sets them up better for this game this week.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I like them with the 11.
Yeah, and they can run the ball some, and they'll have to here. Hayner's not going to be able to do it all by himself against this USC defense, but that's where you get them. You know what I mean? And I think, what does that do? It keeps USC off the field, too. You chew up some clock, but I think we're going to see a ton of points in this one. But I think the 11.5 is going to be good. Probably, I would say this is going to be, 10-point game at max. But I do expect a lot of points.
And remind me, I think, didn't they upset two big teams last year? I know they're giant killers at times. UCLA, Oregon, something like that. I remember they got two real big wins early. And
I don't have it offhand, but they're a good team.
I think it was those two.
They're a real good team. They brought Hayner back. They lose the board. He's over in Washington now doing big things. But I like them here in this spot. I think this is sell. Like if USC – their value right now, you got to sell. Like they're just not going to be able to keep doing what they're doing. So great play, man. Keep them coming, guys. Drop them in the comments. Any games you want us to talk about, we will do that for sure. But let's get into what I think is the biggest game of the day, Dave. And, I don't care where College Game Day's at because Texas, the way they turtled up last week, they don't deserve the recognition, I don't think. Good for App State for beating the team I'm going to talk about right now, and that's Texas A&M. App State, a team I got completely wrong. The defense steps up against A&M. Haynes King out, mid-range. Max Johnson in. Dave, I know we talked about this in the offseason. We thought it always should have been Max Johnson. Haynes King, the guy, more athletic, the better tools, the bigger arm, looks better on paper. When they're on the field, though, Max Johnson, I think, more experience, uses the middle of the field better, has a little bit of, he's got some mobility too. I think this is going to be a huge plus for the Texas A&M offense going into tonight.
Yeah, can you remind me, what did North Carolina hang on App State? Like 100? I mean, it was close, right?
Yeah, it was like 100.
Right? Yeah.
It was like 100, yeah.
And what Haynes King drop on that same App State defense? Like 14?
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
nothing, dude. Unbelievable.
It was.
You have to make the move.
It's Jimbo being Jimbo. And I've always said he gets in his own way. Like, the guy, good coach, don't get me wrong. Great coach, I'm not so sure. He's got the talent on this team to, challenge teams like Alabama and Georgia, and you lose at home to App State. You had to make that switch. Not only did he may not want to, but I'm sure the boosters and everyone else is telling him, Jimbo, you done messed up. Because this kid came over from LSU, transferred, tried to play, with his brother. That's what he wants to do. Big incoming talent, freshman.
Mm-hmm.
And they bench him. And now I guess making that move early in the season, I do think will inject some life in that team. Max Johnson plays with some heart. He plays with some, I'll say style, but like you said, he's mobile, but he's not going to run out there and dust up a ton of yards like Malik Cunningham, but he's a guy that's going to play with some energy. And I just like the kid. He comes from, obviously a family tree of a good NFL quarterback, a Super Bowl winning NFL quarterback in Brad Johnson. So the dude can play the position. And then if you think about it, Brad Johnson was from Florida State. Who better to put in Max Johnson against? Their biggest rivals, Miami. So you knew growing up he hated Miami more than anyone. And here he goes. He gets the Hurricanes tonight. So it's just a really good story, a really good game script. And I'm excited to see what Max can do tonight.
Yeah, I am too. I think A&M is going to roll tonight. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that they beat up this team pretty good. When you look at Miami without Restrepo, really no weapons on offense. Like, he was really the go-to guy for Van Dyke. He's out of there indefinitely. I think it's a foot, I want to say. But that kills them offensively. And then when you look at just kind of like, okay, so how's Cristobal going to attack this thing? We saw this enough at Oregon. Like, he's just going to try and run the ball into A&M. I don't think he's going to have the success. I know App State had a little bit of success running the ball, but I think they're going to be geared up at home here. And I don't think we're going to get a big number out of Miami at all. I wouldn't be surprised if they were held to 14, 17 points in this matchup. I think the side here is to lay the points with Texas A&M. I bet A&M at a little bit of a better number, but anything under 7 I think is good here. With Texas A&M. And I think that, again, I think they're going to kind of beat them up front at home. They're going to be ready to go. And Max Johnson, again, it's not going to be about the smash plays, but it's about the efficiency. And that's what he's going to bring to this offense. He's going to get the ball to their playmakers' hands in rhythm. And, you're going to see the offense look a lot better. And it's going to give the wide receivers an opportunity to make plays and really kind of show. And I think that's really what's been missing from this offense. But I like Texas A&M to roll tonight. Again, I just think Miami offensively, even if they don't get conservative, like, I don't know if they're going to have success. A&M's pass defense, top 6 in the country. So, we all like what Cristobal is going to do, future state of Miami. And I think that they were alive to kind of win the ACC. Like, we'll see how things play out. If Van Dyke, Gaddis can get on the same page with an offense that looks clunky right now. Like, the injury to rest, hurts. The injury to the wide receiver hurts. And I just think season on the line, Texas A&M, like, this is their spot here. And I think the money's coming in on A&M for good reason. And I think that, I don't think Miami moves the ball much here. And I think that, the most important thing is there's still, like, on paper, there's a pretty big talent edge here for Texas A&M. Like, they're the better football team, I feel like, here. And I think it's going to show in a pivotal spot.
Yeah, so I agree with you, and I'll just end with this part. Miami, Cristobal, I get it. He's there. Maybe you can't take a whole lot into this, but in their last 7 games as a ranked opponent, playing a ranked opponent, they were 1-6 overall, 1-6 ATS, and got beat by an average, I think, almost 30 points a game. So they're not very close when they are ranked and play a ranked team. And we're talking ACC, SEC. That margin is pretty wide. And then if you would have played this game, because I always like to play this math, if you would have played this game last week before Texas A&M lost, I think we're seeing 12 to 13. Like, I really think this number's a lot bigger.
We're definitely seeing it's definitely over 7. Like,
yeah.
you're going to pass the key number for sure. I just think, Miami, again, like, on the scoreboard, they've looked impressive against, low competition. But I think when they have a step up and they got to play these guys, I mean, Texas A&M's defense is good. I get they didn't look good last
Tough
week.
place to play, too.
Yeah, they're going to be good. They're going to be ready to go. Yeah, 100,000 fans.
Yeah.
So they're going to be rolling, man. I like A&M here. I think they're the side. I think they get back on track with Max Johnson, and I think they can cause some chaos as the season goes on. That's it for Haynes King. I give credit for Jimbo. He tried. Like, Haynes King has the tools, has the higher ceiling, but not going to get there. Got to win games, especially in the SEC. So,
and this is why Jimbo frustrates me. Like, you go back to the Jameis Winston days. He loves just pulling his quarterback aside and yelling at him. Brian Kelly style. He just thinks, I feel like this Haynes King thing was, look, I'm right because I know everybody. I got EJ Manuel drafted. I got Winston. But in this case, I just think he was wrong. So we'll see. We'll see tonight for sure.
Awesome. Listen, everybody tuning in. Listen, if you got questions, games you want to drop, hit us in the comments. Make sure you hit the like button. Very important. Smash the like button. You're already here. Hit the like button. Let's go. Get these likes up. Guys, next up, Dave, you got a bet for us. Roll it out. What do you got? What are you rolling with first?
We talked earlier when we opened the show about the Sun Belt Conference having that big win last week. Wins, 3 of them, right? We had Marshall up in Notre Dame, great win. App State, we've already talked about. Let's talk about the third team and the one that got our boy fired. Georgia Southern did it in Nebraska. And why the hell didn't we just pick one game last week and just pick Georgia Southern and just roll with it? Because we know how big. The only sad part I have about Scott Frost being fired is that I can't win more money. I mean, that guy was so bad. I mean, can't. There's not many. I mean, Willie Taggart was for Florida State. There's others out there, but for that university, he's going to go down as one of the worst ever. And they take the lead late in the game, and Georgia Southern's like, "Nah, dog. 1 minute left's plenty for me," and go down and do a quarterback run from like the 10 with like 3 seconds left to win it and shove it right in his face. And now they got to take all that energy and all that momentum and all that excitement and play a football game today. And I think that's going to be very tough for them. They're traveling to UAB. UAB on the flip is coming off a very tough loss to Liberty, 21-14, and a game that they dominated in the box score, but not eventually on the final score. So I think it's going to be tough for Georgia Southern to keep up what they're doing right now. I mean, listen, they're averaging 52 points a game, but you're coming into a team in UAB that lets up 10. And, I just think UAB is a stronger defense. It will dominate the line of scrimmage. And then on the flip side, UAB runs the ball 65% of the time. Georgia Southern's rush success rate on defense is not very good. I think we have an obviously a big mismatch here. I think UAB is going to be able to control the line of scrimmage on the offense as well. I think 12 is just fine. Georgia Southern, good job. Coach Clay Helton, great job getting out there and coaching these boys up. This one's a little tougher today. I think UAB wins this one going away.
You like UAB bouncing back that tough loss against Liberty. I think I bet UAB last week and lost that one, but against Liberty, I think I had them to cover. But hopefully they get back in the money for us. Definitely, going to be definitely fun to see how, to me, like, I think the main takeaway of this game is going to be number one, like, for both teams, how much does last week bleed into this week, right? Does Georgia Southern use this to kind of propel them and play a little bit over their heads, their big win? And does UAB, are they able to kind of turn the page on that game last week and put in a dominating performance at home? So you're on the Blazers, the UAB side. Got to love it. I'm going to move to another game, another one of the big games. And we'll talk about some of these big games on the card because there's a couple of them that this, to me, one of the most fascinating games out there. And that is the Cougars, BYU, huge win over Baylor. I think they got a little help from the refs there, but, maybe that's because I was on the Baylor side. But
little help.
Yeah, little help from the refs. But, hey, it is what it is. Listen. The traders grade tickets on the results on the scoreboard. So we roll with what we roll with. But BYU now catching more than a field goal at Oregon. Oregon's a team, Dave, like I feel like they're just kind of like a little polished up Nebraska, right? Like we've seen Oregon on the Oregon side we talk about them in these big games and we say, oh, you look at the athleticism on the team, look at the physicality, the crystal ball recruited up front. They should be able to dominate in the trenches. They should be able to do this. They get on the field, they don't do that, right? They don't do that. We saw it against, Utah. They got bullied last year. They got bullied again week 1 against Georgia. Maybe hey, listen, I had some duck money, against Georgia, right? So, maybe I'm not the most objective person here, but that's my concern with the Ducks is, they're at home. Everything's lining up perfect with them. They're laying more in the field goal against a team that's been pretty game. Now, when I talk about, on the other side, we'll talk about the Cougars, really concerned. Listen, the Gunner's still out. They get Puka back. Sure, that's going to help them. Love the quarterback, right? But that was a huge emotional win they came off of that. I don't even think they deserve the win against Baylor.
No.
Like if we're being, quite frank. So now, they have to travel to Oregon and play this Oregon team. And I have a lot of concerns with how much they have left in the tank. And, I went to the well one more time here with Oregon. I said, you know what? They should dominate the line of scrimmage. I laid some 3.5. I played some first half under 29.5 in this matchup. I think Oregon is the side. I think on paper, when we review the data, as long as Bo Nix doesn't go, lose his mind, he's been, as long as Bo Nix doesn't go, full blown Bo Nix, we should be okay here. Like I like Oregon. I think they're the side, but I have concerns with both games. That's why I'm dying to hear your opinion on this one. I did bet Oregon. I did bet the first half under, but how do you see this one playing out, Dave?
Yeah, I love this game. And first off, I'm going to read you a quick quote from the Bear from ESPN, right? I don't have a ton of faith in Oregon's offense, but I think the Ducks defense is very good. So when I watched the Ducks defense play against Georgia, I saw 9 for 9 Georgia, like on touchdown drives, like very good.
They were really good at getting off the field.
So what your first concern about, Oregon's defense, Look, I do think, they'll settle down. They'll be better. They are not very good, but they'll be better. And then I look at the Baylor side. BYU side. They're playing 33 times last week for 83 yards. I know Baylor's front is imposing, but that's not very good. So I do think there's an opportunity here for Oregon's D to kind of stifle that run game. And then if you have to let them rip it and you're missing Gunner, Cooper's stepped up, and Puka, you're hearing he's back.
Yes. Puka's back. Yeah. Okay, back. Gunner is not.
Help.
Gunner is
out. That'll help. But what I know is let's remember this. BYU played that game like almost a bowl game last week. Baylor stepped on them for 300 yards rushing the year before, and they were so emotionally invested in that game last week, where Oregon has already kind of used that emotional game, had a little bye week last week, and now what was it? Did they have Eastern Washington, I think, last week? It was someone like that.
It was Eastern Washington. Yep.
Yeah, I think you're in a really good spot in the schedule for Oregon, a really bad spot in the schedule for BYU. And I do like Oregon. And being over the key number, I actually like it better. I think Vegas knows this is a spot they don't really want to get Oregon money if they get to 3 or under.
Yeah, I think they're taking all the BYU money they can. Yes. Like this hasn't moved a ton. Like it moved. Like the look ahead was at like 6 or something, and then it moved down. Obviously, BYU starting the season strong, Oregon getting blown out 49-3. But this week hasn't been a ton of movement at all. It's been pretty flat. And I agree with you. Like, I think, we look at that Georgia game and how did they win, right? And I thought, Monken did a tremendous job with his game plan as far as like, hey, you know what? We're going to spread Oregon out.
Yeah.
And it was Bennett. Quick, efficient throws, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if BYU is going to be able to kind of implement the same type of game plan. Number one, from a talent perspective, like, they get Puka back, but, the quarterback's good, but like, is that really the game they're going to institute, right? I think they're going to be a little more conservative. They're going to run the ball more and take more shots down the field. And I think that kind of plays into the Oregon defense here. So I like Oregon. I'm holding on to the fact that Bo Nix at home is typically a good quarterback, right? Bo Nix on the road, typically not. He's at home here. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere in Eugene. So I think they get the job done here. I think that this line almost tells you, what you need to see. Like, you're like, all right, it's over. this is over the field goal. This is probably Oregon's thing. I'm just a little weary putting my money back on the Ducks after that week 1, especially quarterback by Bo Nix.
No, I get it, but very efficient last week, looked better. I think so BYU, when I watched that game last week, they had to kind of, throw the house at Shapen to get him off his, off his timing, off his target. And my point here with Nix is I think he's a little bit more athletic. And if you watch the film and he can read that kind of pre-snap movement, I think he can get outside the pocket and do almost what Bennett did to them. So I think you can, if they coach him up right, I think we can really predict what BYU is going to do. I think that's the only way they can get pressure. They don't really have a great front four. So I think the script's there. Like, I mean, if we can see it, I'm hoping Oregon can see it. And I do like the Ducks.
Bo Nix winning big games. What a world we live in, right? Here we go. Laying more than a field goal with Bo Nix in a big game. But I think awful spot for BYU. So we're on the same page here, Dave. I feel a little bit better. Let's hit the audience with number 2. I know you got another one lined up.
Yeah, and it's, again, I look at, advantages and where the biggest gaps are. And one of the biggest gaps to me on the college football slate today, Ole Miss at Georgia Tech, and it's Ole Miss's running game versus Georgia Tech's rush defense. Ole Miss coming into this game today is 10th in rush success rate on offense, 11th in the nation in running at 249.5 yards a game. On the flip, we have a Georgia Tech team that's 106th in rush defensive success rate. So I just think this is going to be one of those lane train games that it's like, hey, ACC, you're my little brother. I'm going to run literally all over you. And I really think Evans is going to have a huge game. They haven't really decided on who their quarterback is. That throws me off a little bit between Dart and Altmaier. But, I mean, he has a plan. I'm fine. It's Georgia Tech. They look pathetic offensively. I mean, pathetic. I think they have maybe 400 total yards in 2 games. I know one was versus Clemson. But Georgia Tech's in really bad shape. We were able to take advantage of that opening night this year. As you remember, little backdoor, I'll take it because my man Dabo does very similar to what Lane wants to do. I don't care if I'm up 20 late. I'm going to be up 27. And that's I just don't think Georgia Tech can hang in at this pace either. And I like them. I like them big. Ole Miss has the fastest in the country. They're playing it, I think, somewhere in the 18 seconds per play range. So they're going to play fast. Georgia Tech can't hang with that. And they can't even try and slow it down because 3 and out doesn't slow down fast. So I think Ole Miss wins big.
Yeah, I love it. I do. Ole Miss defense, very underrated. I played some under in this matchup. I don't think Georgia Tech's going to be able to score as much. So I think, I'm with you. The Ole Miss defense, I think the Rebels pretty good. That's going to help them kind of, cover this type of number. Georgia Tech, I don't think is going to be doing much scoring in this game. So love the lane train, -17. Let's do it, guys. We're getting into our best bets now. We got about 10, minutes left in the show. If you got any games you want answers on, hit us in the comments, right? We'll talk about the games you want to talk about. We're going to get into our last 2 now, our best bets. And I'm going to start things off with this one. This is a game that I released a little bit earlier in the week at 10.5. Actually love this side. Houston is a team that I'm very familiar with. During the season, it was a team I had a lot of high aspirations, much like Louisville, right? You got to be like Wooder. You got to pivot. I've seen enough of Houston and their trash defense and Holgerson. I am off them. On Kansas, released this earlier in the week at 10.5. Still think there's value here at 8.5. The Jayhawks obviously opened up a lot of eyes last week, right? So you think, are they overvalued? Do you want to fade them? I don't think so. I think that what they showed us, with Jalen Daniels is they can make explosive plays when they need them. They can score, 50-something points a game if they need to win these games against pretty good competition. And, what we know about Houston is they can't cover anybody. They can't cover anybody. Strength of their defense is supposed to be their front. They've been even getting run on a little bit this year, but the secondary, I think they're, 119th, I want to say, in pass defense. Not very good. So I think Kansas is going to be able to score here. I think they're a live dog in this matchup, traveling on the road. Not saying to go crazy on the money line, but I think anything over 8 points here is fine. 8.5 is going to be fine. If we get down to 7.5, it might be a little bit tough because 2-point conversions, it can get kind of goofy. But I love Kansas in this spot. I think when you look at Houston, and they're just not the team defensively that we thought they were. And then plus you have to look at the fact, like, I understand that Kansas came off that emotional win against West Virginia and they come over, but Houston, both those games were marathons. The game against UTSA, overtime, that was like a crazy game. They're playing a ton of overtime. Then they come back the following week. They play Texas Tech, another crazy game, right? Another overtime. I ended up getting a push in that game. I had Houston plus the points, didn't work out. But they, that was a game where they had them 4th and 20. And this is a low IQ football team. 4th and 20 in overtime, up 7, and they end up losing the game because the defender chases after the quarterback, Donovan Smith, and leaves the receiver wide open on 4th and 20. Like, let the quarterback run. He's going to the sidelines. What are you guys doing? So I got no faith in this Cougars team anymore. I was wrong, right? They're not going to win. They're not going to have the season we thought they were. But I'm not going to be wrong all year. I'm going to pivot off of them here. I'm going to take the Kansas Jayhawks. I think the momentum, they're opening some eyes. They build, and I think the offense is pretty decent. I think they're going to be able to put up some points today.
Yeah, and look, I have a lot on this too. I mean, looking at it, last week had Texas Tech, and outside, like, my side of the story is, don't throw an 85-yard interception return for a touchdown at the end of the third quarter. You're dominating Houston,
yep.
And Houston couldn't score. They literally could not score against Texas Tech,
yeah.
and it was, and that's,
well, they can't run. They can't run.
No, they can't. It's like 2 yards and dust, and we knew that. Like, that was part of my now, but that really puts you in a pinch against a team like Kansas that does want to score, that does want to play fast pace. I talked about it in some of the earlier shows here at Betting for Breakfast in the upcoming months leading up to the season. I like Lance Leopold. I like what he's doing in Kansas.
Yeah.
I like this turnaround story. It started last year. We talked about with that huge win against Texas. I want to say 58-57, something, absurd, right? And then they're doing it again. If you follow me on Twitter, I posted them as a free pick last week. They beat WVU straight up. That was just a perfect opportunity for them. My only concern about this game is I do think it should be 10 or 11. I do think we're starting to see a little bit of that. Oh, Houston's not as good. Kansas, I got to get on now. That's my only concern. I think Kansas is better. I think they have the better coaching staff. I think Holgerson sucks. On the Houston side, he runs more of to me, a dictatorship, screaming at everybody, where Leopold's like, man, let my guys run it, and let's be positive. That's the kind of guy I want leading my team, my kids. So in the end, I like Kansas better, right? I really do. I might be off the game because I'm just a little worried about.
A little concerned the value's gone. Yeah, I think it's good. I'm telling you, I think they're live here. Like,
yeah,
I didn't bet them on the money line, but I would not be surprised. Like, I'm that down on Houston. Like, I honestly, like, this is not. I think this Houston, a lot of similarities in the market as far as Louisville, where people are just reluctant to let go of their priors. And they're just like, oh no, like Houston, they were supposed to be good. Like, they're going to be good. Just rough 2 games, 2 overtime. They played they played almost 3 games, right?
Yep.
So I think that I get it that they're coming home, but I'm telling you, watch out for the Jayhawks here. Didn't play them on the money line, full disclosure, but I think over the touchdown, I think at the 8.5, I think we're good here. I'm going with the Jayhawks. And Dave, you have best bet at what as well. Let's close the show with yours. And this is 2 fun teams.
Like,
for anything, if you're going to bet on a game, you want it to be entertaining. And we're going to get some entertainment with these 2 here. And that is SMU catching 2.5, traveling to Maryland to play the Terrapins.
Yeah, I mean, I think this total might be 74 right now. Like, it's going to be one of those games.
I think I played some over. Yeah, I think I did play some over in this.
You might have got it at
73. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. And this is.
I don't think I got it that early, but
I want to say 7 p.m. game. So you got some time on this one to settle in tonight and just sit back and watch.
Might be 80 by kickoff.
It could. I mean, they'll probably still hit. That's the kind of way this game could go. I mean, I'm really excited for this game. You got a Maryland team. We all know about Toledo Tagovailoa, 2 if you want to call him that. Off to, not the greatest start in Buffalo, but then picked it up last week with Charlotte and just ripped them apart. 27-31, 4 TDs. He's just got so many weapons outside. And then on SMU, Tanner Mordecai looking great, 644 yards in his first 2 games, 7 TDs, 1 interception. And what I really like about, from my standpoint, SMU, they're bringing in Rhett Lashley. He was offensive coordinator in Miami before he came over to take this job when Sonny Dykes left for TCU. But he was also offensive coordinator at SMU under Sonny Dykes. Always had this love, this attraction to the Dallas area. Wanted to come back. And as soon as that opened up, he ran back with a big smile on his face. And he's brought that, that culture thing again that I talked about, as I talked about with Kansas. And they look like they're having fun. A lot of times when you lose a successful coach like Dykes, it's a hard transition, not if you bring back family. And that's what they did here, and they're reaping the benefits so far out to a 2-0 start. Now, Maryland on one edge, 5-1 ATS in the last 6 non-conference games. They do tend to, play well in these spots, in these situations. But my issue is I look at a lot of the, important stats when you look offense versus defense, defense versus offense. Out of those 12, Maryland has the edge in only 3 of those. So SMU has the edge in 9 out of the 12 when you look at head-to-head, pass blocking, rush defense, all that good stuff. And the areas that Maryland has a little advantage, well, defensively, they're showing that they're 5th best in pass success rate in the nation. Do I believe Maryland is the 5th best pass success rate team in the nation? No. They have a great cornerback on one side, but other than that, they've played Buffalo and Charlotte, 2 teams that really can't rip the ball. So, and you're playing a great passing team. So I even think that one they might not have the edge, even though they're showing it now. So for me, I think this is a great situation, a great spot for an SMU team. Maryland has played Buffalo and Charlotte. They are ranked 115th and 122nd SP+. Now, I know SMU hasn't played anybody that much better, but Maryland's at least played 2 D1 teams and hasn't impressed me. They've up over 40 points combined. SMU's going to put 40 by themselves today. I like SMU to win this game outright, plus 2.5, even better. A lot of times when I look up different articles, everyone's on Maryland. This is under the key number. It's under it for a reason. That's because Vegas, and I know it's Mustangs, baby.
Nice. I love it. SMU. Little money line action? 2.5 small number. You could sprinkle in some money line. Love to see it, man. All right, the Stangs. SMU, best bet of the day for our guy, Dave. Doing great things over at Win Daily Sports. Guys, it's going to be an incredible weekend. So many of these games, I think we're going to learn so much more about these teams. And then in the upcoming weeks, we get into conference play. Season really starting to heat up. So again, if you are still here, make sure you hop into Discord. Link is in the description. Hit the like button, right? Very important. I want everybody hitting the like button that's watching. And, make sure you hang with us all season. We will be back, next Saturday, more college football action. But get involved. Get in the Discord, download the app, be a part of the team. It's going to be a lot of fun this college football season, and I can't wait to get into it all. So I'm Mark Drumheller. I'm here with Dave Gleckner. We will be back next week. Good luck on all your bets and hope to see you next week with a little bit fatter pockets.